Yes.
Good evening, everyone that's joined so far. I'm Jamie from Payne and Dolan.
And I'm Steve Kolar from Payne and Dolan.
We'll wait a few more minutes to let people join. Steve, are you seeing my screen all right?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay. I realized it's 6 o'clock, but I'm gonna give people a few more minutes to join. The participant list is kind of small yet compared to the RSVPs.
I'm here.
Oh, there's Bill. He's from Payne and Dolan also.
Should I mute my microphone?
I'm thinking everyone will stay muted except for you, Steve, and myself for the beginning part. Feel free to comment along with Steve while I'm going through the exhibits.
Okay.
I guess in the interest of everyone's time, I'll get started with introductions and housekeeping. Like I said, I'm Jamie Lapp from Payne and Dolan. Steve Kolar and Bill Buglis are both here too from Payne and Dolan. There are a handful of staff from the city of Fitchburg and the town of Verona that also RSVP'd that they'd be joining us. If you guys are on and would like to unmute yourselves and introduce yourselves, you can, so the residents know who's here.
Randy Udell, Alder, District 4, Fitchburg.
And also Aaron Richardson, Mayor of Fitchburg.
I'm pretty sure Sonia, the city planner and zoning administrator, will be joining, and Chris Barnes, the town public works director, said he'd be on as well. Well, hopefully they join us, but moving on, this is my disclosure, this meeting's being recorded, just so you all know. But also, this is my first virtual neighborhood meeting, so I'm asking that you bear with me. The format will be a little different than if it was in person. For those of you that haven't been to a neighborhood meeting before, they're usually pretty just laid back, not formal. Usually there's some concept plans hanging on boards around the room, and it's more just conversation and discussion led. But with as many people joining this call as they said there would be, those open discussions will be a little more difficult. So I kind of had to put together a presentation. I'll keep it brief, and then we can unmute you guys, and you're more than welcome to ask questions, raise concerns. We'll facilitate more discussion that way. I also want to apologize for not replying to all the emails and voicemails that we received. There were quite a few, and most of the concerns were similar. We'll address those as best as we can. Mainly, residents are concerned with stormwater conditions and the current conditions of Fitchburg and Lacey roads and what impact additional traffic from this development will have on those roads. So we can discuss stormwater a little further later. For those of you that don't know, Lacey Road is currently in the design phase for improvement. And as far as the condition of Fitchburg Road, we hear your concerns. It's outside of the scope of this project, but I'm sure there will be discussions after this meeting with the concerns that are voiced and brought forward. I also want to invite you to email me. I think there's a chat box for, yeah, if you want to put your email in the chat box, I intend to send a summary email following this meeting within the next few days, further addressing some of the phone calls or emails that we didn't get back on, or things that were raised during this meeting that we weren't able to fully answer. Like I said earlier, I'm keeping most of us muted for the beginning of this meeting while I run through the exhibits quick, but then afterwards I'll open it up for discussion, questions, and if you could, I don't know, maybe just try to do your best to mute and unmute yourselves, take turns to try to minimize background noise for the rest of the people on the call. That would be best. Let's see. Looks like we've got quite a few people on now. I still don't see Sonia. Well, she's familiar with the beginning part of this anyway, so hopefully she joins us. But on my screen now, I hope everyone can see my screen, is basically the exhibit that you got with your invite, but we'll start at the beginning. This is a location map. I know you are all familiar with the area, being as your neighbors or working for the city or the town, but our development is at the southeast corner of Fitchburg and Lacey Roads in the city of Fitchburg. This is an existing conditions plan that I'm including just to briefly describe the site as it sits today. Again, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar. There are some really steep slopes on that property. There's an existing drainage ditch that drains through the property up this way. And there's a large treed area through here. This is our concept site plan. This is intended to be a phased development. We're showing 5 phases, starting here with the entrance to Fitchburg Road and moving east throughout the site. This site plan incorporates the existing drainage swale that will remain, and it keeps pretty much all of that treed area as park and open space. The site plan shows 114 lots, which equates to 129 units total. That's 99 single family homes and 15 duplexes. For those that are interested, what that means is the gross density of this proposed development would be 2.71 units per acre. That's for the total area. The net density, which is what happens when you take the right-of-way and the park and open space out of the equation, equates to 4.33 units per acre. The city requires us to keep that density below 5 units per acre, so this conforms to that requirement. Also, the city requires open space, and this site plan is exceeding their requirement by 25%. So more than meeting the park and open space requirement. This is the standard road section for anyone that's interested. It's normal for the area. It's what you'd see in the Quarry Vista subdivision across Lacey. So we're not proposing anything unusual there. And stormwater. These lighter blue lines delineate the drainage area that we're basically responsible for. We're proposing a pond in this area, these darker blue lines. We're maintaining the existing drainage swale and extending it into the pond and using that as an infiltration area. All of the existing drainage patterns are maintained. We're not putting any water where it doesn't currently go. And the important thing that residents are interested in is we're definitely not increasing water flow to any areas. The wet pond that I showed you will meet the water quality and peak flow reduction requirements per city ordinance. And what that means is that pond has to reduce total suspended solids, basically any, for lack of a better word, any dirt that flows off of paved areas needs to be filtered and decreased by 80% before it leaves that pond and leaves our site. In addition, this pond will maintain the pre-development peak runoff flows for the 1 year, 2 year, 10 year, and 100-year storm, as well as safely pass storm events in excess of the 100-year storm. So we are required to show through modeling that this pond will slow down the flow rate of any storm events that leave this site in today's current condition, if that makes sense. So even though we're developing it, we will not be increasing flows off site. We won't be making any downstream flooded areas worse. We'll actually be lessening the water that flows off this site today through use of that pond. Moving on to the land use plan, which you all received. It's basically the same plan you received. I did, per request of a resident, add the tree line. This lighter green line shows where the trees are. So with the exception of a little area here and here, some through here with the pond, we're not impacting these trees for the most part. This future road would have an impact, but yeah, definitely efforts being put into preserving those areas and using them as the park and open space areas. Another question that came up was LDR and MDR. LDR is low density residential and MDR is medium density residential. So that delineates where the duplexes are proposed, the 15 duplex lots versus the 99 single family lots. And this plan probably doesn't interest neighbors too much, but this is the proposed zoning plan, similar to the last plan. Medium residential, low residential, low to medium residential. So, and here's just a list of setbacks and lot sizes per city ordinance required for those zoning districts. So that is what I have. If Steve or Bill want me to go back to any exhibits to discuss something further, otherwise it's time to open up for discussion and questions.
I guess this is Steve. I really don't have anything else to add. I think you did a good job giving a good overview of the development and drainage patterns and, you know, the layout and density of the development.
This is Bill Buglas, and we've been encouraged to look at something like this for a long time, and it's not too different from the Quarry Vista on the north side of Lacey Road, with the exception that there are no apartment buildings in this plan. So we're excited about this, and we're looking forward to working with the city and the neighbors and builders to make something happen that's good for Fitchburg.
What school district is this subdivision going to be?
Verona.
Thank you.
Are these, Mark Williams, Wolf Farm, are these slides going to be available for download via email, anything of that nature, or website?
Yeah, I can share these, right? Steve and Bill?
Sure.
Yep,
Thank you.
I'll send those out with with the summary I referred to earlier.
Sounds good. Thank you.
This is Randy Udell. What type of timeline are you looking at as far as construction?
I think, this is Bill Bugles. I think we'd be at least a year away because we have to finish the permitting process in the city of Fitchburg. And then you can take into account weather and getting contracts out to do the grading, build the roads, etc. So I would say at least a year.
And overall, I saw a number of phases. I assume as one phase builds out, you just continue on with the additional phases?
That's correct.
And is that over what kind of period of time? Over a 5-year period, or it's just difficult to say?
It's difficult to say because it's going to be market driven. I hope the market stays where it is right now and or increases. You know, people love to live in the city of Fitchburg. It's a great city and a great community, and we certainly have had a great experience here, and we look forward to providing that opportunity to more people.
One more question before I let you go. Is there an association as well? It will be, you know, and for instance, I live in Seminole Forest, and we have a strong association. Will there be a similar structure with this development, or?
We have not gone there yet. I mean, quite frankly, I didn't think of it. I guess we'd be, you know, maybe that's more of a question for the people that eventually buy these lots and build, as to whether or not, you know, that's something that they feel is in their best interest.
Okay. I don't know.
Brody Burkle here, a neighbor across Fitzgerald Road, and I'm wondering if you feel that the stormwater retention that may be required for this plot is enough after experiencing the 100-year storm and experiencing since Quarry Vista has been put in and what it was like before Quarry Vista. Fitzgerald Road's flooding and all the flooding in the area has gone through the roof. So I think it is still a big concern if this pond is going to truly hold enough water during storms, considering you're taking acres and acres of permeable surface and turning it into rooftops and roads and driveways and just flushing it into this pond and exiting it directly over to Goose Lake, which is causing all the flooding and shutting down Fitzgerald Road over and over. Do you truly feel that the studies that have been done show that this pond is going to hold enough? And the last part of this question is, you're talking about the filtration of the pond. It seems to me that all of these driveways and everything else that's going to run into there is going to fill it up. Will there be plans to dredge or to keep it at a certain level?
I guess I can address that. The pond is designed, you know, per the current standards, you know, for no increase for the 1 through the 100-year storm event. This pond is also taking a good portion of the redevelopment of reconstruction of Lacey Road. So that stormwater right now is not being detained. So it's going to really alleviate some of that runoff as well. So the pond is sized per current standards. And like all ponds in modern days, there is a maintenance plan that has to be done. It has to be inspected at certain intervals, dredged out, you know, when certain amounts of sediment collect in there, you know, make sure pipes are clean, inlets are clean, and those types of things. So there are going to be maintenance agreements in place. And those do get recorded with the subdivision. And they're definitely enforceable by the city.
This is Jess Reed. I'm a neighbor across Fitzgerald. And my concern is really, and you mentioned it at the beginning of the presentation, the traffic hazards on Fitzgerald Road. And it's interesting, you're going to start your phase one from the Fitchburg entrance to the development. So I'm wondering if you've got plans to mitigate the serious risk or problems that's going to create with the currently already hazardous traffic on Fitchburg. As development takes place, and Fitchburg is a very narrow road and is actually quite hazardous as it is now, because people coming north on Fitchburg tend to speed, and the entrance you have is actually on a hill where people are actually going quite fast, while other folks are turning left onto Lacey and or right onto Lacey, and you guys are going to be, I guess, bringing in heavy equipment and trucks. So it seems to me that you should probably think seriously about what you're going to do about Fitzrona Road on that entrance to your development.
And this is Mike Peterly. I also live across from your subdivision too, and the speeding is really bad. But also, if you're coming on Lacey Road trying to turn left, it takes a long time. And so I think you're going to cause more traffic jams there. So I think there's got to be some traffic stuff done before you go forward. Or is this going to be a major hassle trying to move around here? I don't know if have you worked with Fitchburg on traffic studies or anything like that?
Yes, this is Bill Buglas, and yes, we have. And as you know, the Lacey Road is being planned for a reconstruction in the future, and the intersection of Fitchburg and Lacey is also in the planning stages for improvement.
Are they going to put a three-way stop in or a roundabout?
You know, I don't know that they've actually made that decision final yet. They obviously are considering both. And I don't really have any idea. Perhaps somebody from the city of Fitchburg who's here could answer that question. But our access at this point at Fitchburg Road meets Fitchburg's criteria. So we're obviously willing to work with them in any way that we can. And I would look for some input from City of Fitchburg people at this point.
Yeah, because I exit on the hill itself, so I have to accelerate very quickly, and I would accelerate right into your stop sign where we're there, and I'd probably hit somebody coming out because we weren't watching what's going on.
Right, at our intersection with Fitzrona Road,
Correct.
we are showing a turn lane so they can pull off the main through lane to turn in right into the subdivision. Then also an acceleration taper as they pull out to go to the north up towards Lacey Road. So there will be some improvements right by the intersection as part of this.
Hello, this is Aaron. I can chime in. Obviously, this whole area, the roads, both Lacey and Fitchburg need improvement. Fitchburg, we share with the town of Verona. That's been a challenge to get them to, provide any money to help us with that. But obviously, that road is going to have to get improved, not only just because of this, I think even more so from some of the other things happening in the area, including the Costco that's going into Verona. But we certainly will be improving the safety of this area. Recognize that you're absolutely right that it's not very safe right now. And as more and more traffic comes in, regardless of this development, we do need to fix that. And we're doing that process. I'm not going to say it's going to be this or that, but obviously there has to be something that is slowing down traffic in this area, because as it is right now, as you add more and more people, like you said, it's going to be unsafe. And we recognize the exact same things you're concerned about. And so those things will need to be addressed.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for your input on that.
For those of you that have your hand raised, I can see you, but I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Anna. I am one of the neighbors in the Corey Vista area. I wanted to know if this is a bring your own builder situation, or are all of the houses built by the same builder? Thank you.
This is Bill Bugles. We don't know that at this time. I guess we're open to looking at both options. I would guess that we would probably not say that it had, if as Painted Dolan, say that it has to be built by us or builder A or builder B, and it's probably going to depend to a certain extent on the sale of the lots and who in fact winds up buying the lots.
Yeah, many times a developer or builder will come in, he'll buy a block of lots to build, his houses on them for sale. So that's really kind of the market is going to dictate that.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So my name is Chris Barnes. I work for the town of Verona. I'm the public works director there. And some other folks have expressed some concerns, relative to drainage and the traffic along Fitzroy Road. So one of the things that I'm wondering about, just looking at this preliminary plan, is if there was a thought to align Pheasant Lane, which is on the west side of Fitzroy Road, in order to provide a four-way intersection, instead of having the offset intersection. I understand that impacts the stormwater pond, but that's one thing that's of a concern, because obviously the site distance will be a major concern along Fitzroy Road, to the south. And then, secondly, as far as stormwater management, I do understand that you'll have to follow the city of Fitchburg standards, and that there are pre-existing conditions out here that you're not responsible for, but that do exist, and we are working with the city of Fitchburg currently to try to mitigate some of those situations.
Chris, this is Bill Bugles, and your thought about aligning with the Pheasant Lane. I don't know if it's possible, but maybe if the town of Verona were willing to look at moving Pheasant Lane to the south, there might be some ability to move our access point to the north, and we all meet in the middle. Now, I don't know if that's even possible, but that's just a thought.
Yeah, this is Steve Kohler. I think there's some elevation challenges there, because Pheasant Place is almost a low point there. That's kind of at the bottom of the slope, and Fitzroy starts flattening out. And to get a stormwater pond in and that road there will really be a very big challenge to try to accomplish that, just because of the grades on the site and where the natural drainage patterns occur.
And that's why we have Steve and Jamie and not just me.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if I could add, I would appreciate the opportunity to, visit with you folks regarding the your access onto Fitzroy, as well as the stormwater management. That's really the two factors, at this stage that impact the town.
And I think if, Aaron's still out there, so if the city of Fitchburg, which is where we reside and who we're ultimately responsible for, if they're, and I'm sure they are, willing to meet with you, we certainly are.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
This is Deanne Remaika. I don't know if it's my turn to talk.
Sure, go ahead.
I can't, I'm not used to operating this this particular application. I own the 2 lots at the corner of Lacey and Fitcherona on the south side of Lacey. And Jamie, first of all, I want to thank you for drawing the trees in for me.
That was a good idea. Thanks for the recommendation. I know others are concerned about that too, so.
Yeah, so if you could include that drawing with your packet that you're going to put with the email, that would be great.
Yeah.
This isn't a question for Payne and Dolan. This is a question actually for the city. When I originally heard about plans in this area, there was a plan to put a sidewalk stretching along the south side of Lacey Road from the corner up towards the land that you're talking about developing. Now that I see your development plan, I mean, that was a mystery to me to start with, was who was going to use that sidewalk on the south side that just goes by some commercial businesses that are not retail. And now that I see the plan for the development, it doesn't seem to me like that south side sidewalk would be of any use to the residents either. And I wondered if that south side sidewalk, which will cross both my lots, is still in the picture, or has that been abandoned?
I think that would be a question for Aaron or one of the city of Fitchburg staffers, Diane.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, that maybe somebody who's there could answer that question.
Yeah, this is Aaron. I guess it's not designed at this point in time, so it's hard for me to say yes or no. I know that we do try to have that on both sides where possible, but there's instances both ways where it is on one side of the street only, and then there's also instances where it's on both. I think that that's undetermined. I think Sony might be on the line right now. She might know a little bit more. I know Bill Belke, who's our public works director, is on a different meeting right now, and so he isn't able to be here. But I know for a road like Lacey Road, there's going to be more and more development along that road, and that includes, hopefully bikers and walkers and people like that, and a lot of traffic's probably sadly for most of the people on here, and so you want to make it as safe as possible. So that might really include those sidewalks. That would be my guess, is that it would probably have sidewalk, but I can't say that with certainty, unfortunately.
Okay, so I need to talk to Public Works or?
Yeah, Public Works, Bill Belke would have a better idea.
Okay. Thank you.
Aaron, you mentioned biking. Is there any plans, do you know, of Lacey Road having a bike lane put in there? I know Fitchburg hangs their hat heavily on being a cycling friendly town, and Lacey Road is not a biker friendly road right now. So I'm just curious if a bike lane is being thought about being put in on the upgrades.
I agree. It is not bike friendly or bike safe right now. I will not bike on this stretch of road. And yeah, I would expect that there would be bike paths on this. And then the path to the north, I believe what's there so far is a multi-use path. So it's a little bit wider path. And that would continue, I would imagine, during that entire north stretch of Lacey Road. And that could also be biked on, especially for families or young kids.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
This is Bill Bugles, and we don't seem to have any more questions, but I would like to say that Jamie and Steve or I or Craig Donzi, another member of our team, as well as City of Fitchburg staff are available to answer questions as they come up to you. I know sometimes it takes a little while to digest some of these things, and at least it does for me. So please don't hesitate to give us a call with anything that that you'd like. Thank you very much.
So I have a question for the Fitchburg folks. How is this going to affect the Lacey Road? I'm sorry, the Fitchrona Road expansion with their bike lane, and is this delaying it or speeding it up?
I guess that it would be like this part where this development is, we would, have that at this point in time of this development on that stretch anyway, have that put in. It's not delaying anything else that's planned or at this point in time. We wouldn't at this point in time expand the, I guess you could say, enhancements or improvements of Fitchrona to the south beyond where this is at this point in time. But for what's planned, I think it's to the north. There's some, there might be some plans for connecting, and that would still be on the same timeline.
Okay, so it's not going to adjust the timeline for basically from Lacey to Nesbit?
No.
I just got a question in the chat box from Hannah, who's not able to unmute. She's asking about the future development south of this site. You can see part of it on my screen here. She wants to know if it's land owned by Fitchburg Minerals or Payne and Dolan as well. Bill, do you want to speak to that, or I can certainly answer.
Sure. Yes, it is owned by us, or by Fitchburg Minerals.
Right.
And what you see there is a 10,000 foot, if you will, look at things. It's not in the urban service area. It would have to go through the planning process and Fitchburg's planning process, and then go through the Regional Plan Commission to get included in the urban service area. And my guess is this is a bit off. It's not in our immediate future at all.
Yeah, just a hypothetical look at what it could be someday and how that fits.
I have a final question.
Go ahead.
Are you planning to develop this in phases, or is one phase? And what's your general schedule? What timeline would you think to have this done? That does relate to some of the planning that we've done, both with the town of Verona and the city of Fitchburg on the improvements north of Lacey, as well as what the town has programmed south of Lacey.
Well, we, Chris, this area, south of Lacey that you see on the plan here, we don't really know how long it's going to take to develop this area. It's completely market driven. Obviously, we'd probably go broke if we built all these roads and sewers and water mains and everything else, and then another 2008 came around and we sat there. We'd be in tough shape. So we don't really know. Best guess, if things continued anywhere as close to where they're going right now, would be probably 5 to 10 years, 5 to 8 years, something like that.
Okay, that's a good idea. Thank you very much. Mhm.
I think Aaron wants to say something, Jamie.
Yeah, he's unmuted. I can, oh, now he's muted.
No, I can just, chime in. I'm excited about this development. I think that it's going to be extremely popular. It's part of the city that we have some growth. Obviously, right up Fisher-Rona Road at the top of the hill there is access to a lot of great businesses as well. And I'm really excited for this development. I think that there's a lot of people looking to move to Fitchburg, and this is a wonderful part of the city. And I think this really enhances that part of the city and makes an even better place to live. So I'm really excited about this and looking forward to this getting started.
Great, thank you.
I guess that's a little interesting to me. This is Cindy. I always thought that Fitchburg was pretty committed to having green spaces around its edges.
Yeah, this, Steve Kohler, Payne and Dolan. On this development on phase 3 along Lacey Road, you can see there's where the lots kind of end and there's quite a gap between where the road is. That's really going to be all green space up in there. Obviously, the stormwater pond area and that whole swale will be kind of a green space. And then there's that large hillside that's treed and with steep slopes. That'll all be preserved and kept as open space. So we'll have, I think like Jamie said earlier, we have, 25% or more greater green space than what's required for development like this.
Because I guess the other thing, and I'm sure you guys can't answer this, but and I can see how it's zoned right now, those 2 lots that Diane owns there on the corner. But my concern kind of is down the road, what could happen with those lots, I mean, is that going to be a quick trip,
Well, Cindy, this is Bill Buglis. That would be completely up to Diane and the city as far as what they'll allow. We have no interest in those 2 lots. At this time, they're not part of our development, so
right.
I know that maybe isn't a good answer for you, but that's where we stand.
Yeah, I just guess that's more of a question for Fitchburg, if they would be, if somebody were to develop or to approach them about rezoning those, But I understand that's not really part of this meeting.
Cindy, this is Diane.
Hi, Diane.
Hi. Leave me some contact info in my mailbox on the corner there.
I can do that. I would be happy to.
At 6311, and I'll get in touch with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Julia, I see your hand is raised. If you want to unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi, this is Julia Ratafrata. I have a question about so the Hammersley Stone business is gonna stay there?
Oh, asking about Hammersley. Bill, what are long-term plans for Hammersley?
I forgot to unmute. What was the question?
She's asking if Hammersley plans to remain.
I don't know at this point. Are you, Julia, are you talking about his office?
Yes, correct.
Yes, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
but who owns that lot? You own that lot too, or?
No, that's separate from this.
Okay.
Are there any more questions or observations or maybe a joke or two? I don't know. Well, as I've said before, we're a long time fixture here in the city of Fitchburg, and we very much enjoyed our time here and our relationship with the city of Fitchburg and the town of Verona. And we look forward to making things better and providing some opportunities for people to come and live in the city. So if in the future, if any of you have questions, concerns, whatever, please feel free to contact any of us and we will respond quickly. So thank you all for attending. And if there's nothing further, Jamie, I think we should probably close things.
Fair enough. Please remember to leave your email address in the chat box if you would like me to send you these plans. And hearing nothing else, I'll thank everyone for attending tonight. I appreciate you showing up and asking questions. It's an exciting project for us, so.
All right. That, good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, all.
Good night. Thank you.
Good job. Good job, Jamie and Steve. I'll